Hey everyone, I am Manoj Kumar. Today we will be talking about law of demand. In my previous video on this chapter, we had discussed what is demand, individual demand, market demand, what are the various determinants of demand, factors affecting or influencing the demand for a commodity. We also saw what is law of demand, what is the curve of demand curve, why its slope is downward. Then we saw change in quantity demanded of a commodity due to change in the price of the commodity. And then we saw change in demand due to change in one of the other factors or shift factors while price of the commodity remains constant. Today in this session we will be talking about exceptions to law of demand. We will be talking about normal goods, inferior goods, the classification which is based on income basis, and then we will see what is elasticity of demand, price elasticity of demand, and what are the various degrees of price elasticity of demand, right? So, to begin with, let us first of all see how do we classify goods on the basis of income. If there is change in income, what happens to the demand of a particular commodity? As is clear, we are talking about microeconomics, therefore we are talking about one particular commodity. So, what relationship does the demand of a commodity has with the income of the consumer? So, on the basis of income, we have two types of goods. One is normal goods, and another is inferior goods. Now, these normal goods have positive relationship with the income of the consumer. As the income of the consumer rises, the demand for normal goods also rises. When there is decrease in the income of the consumer, fall in the income of the consumer, the demand for normal goods also decreases. Whereas in case of inferior goods, what happens is they have inverse relationship. If the income rises, then the demand of inferior good falls, and if the income falls, the demand of inferior goods rises. So, normal goods have positive relationship with the income, whereas inferior goods have inverse or negative relationship with the income of the consumer. For example, let us say fine rice, let us say cream milk, then for inferior goods, the example is coarse rice, and then there is toned milk, from which cream has been taken out. So, when there is increase in the income of the consumer, the fine rice, its demand increases. People look for finer quality of rice, basmati ones, lal kila, etc. There are so many of them. Then there is cream milk, which contains the cream. Its price is at the higher end. If the income of the consumer rises, the consumer goes for cream milk, right? And if there is decrease in the income of the consumer, the demand for fine rice also decreases. And if there is decrease in the income of the consumer, then cream milk also rises, the consumer shifts to toned milk. So in this case, if there is rise in income, there is increase in demand, and if there is fall in income, there is fall in demand of the normal goods, right? And in the case of inferior goods, if the income rises, the demand falls. If the income rises, consumer moves from coarse rice to fine rice, from toned milk to cream milk, right? And if there is decrease in income, the demand for inferior goods rises. If the income decreases, people look for lower quality of rice, toned milk. So here these normal goods have positive relationship. They have positive relationship with income, whereas the inferior goods have inverse or negative relationship with income. So we have just seen, on the basis of income, there are two types of good. We classify them into two types, normal goods and inferior goods. We have seen the examples. We have seen their relationship with the income, whether it is positive or negative. Now we will talk about exceptions to law of demand. We will talk about exceptions to law of demand. Exceptions to law of demand. Let us just think of salt. A little while ago, there was a rumor in the market that salt is going to be scarce. People rushed to the shop to buy 4-5 kgs of salt at a rate of 80 rupees, 100 rupees. If I am consuming as a consumer 1 kg of rice, 1 kg of salt, and its price is, let us say, 20 rupees. If the price rises to 100 rupees, it is not that I am going to consume 200 grams of salt. It has no relationship with the increase in the price. Similarly, if I am taking life-saving drugs, there is no effect. Another example is school fees. Every year they increase by certain percentage, but due to that, no student is out of the school. Rather than that, there is admission in the school. So these are the examples where there is no effect on the change of the price of the commodity. So the first one is necessities, without which we cannot do, right? So necessities have no effect. Law of demand does not operate on them. Then the next one is prestige goods. Next one is prestige goods. Prestige goods are those one, let us think of premium brands like Mercedes cars, Rolex watches, Ray-Ban glasses. So they are sold at higher end of the price, and that is the only reason why people go for them. That is the only reason why people go for them. You can think of fashion designers who design clothes for film stars, other celebrities. So those goods are prestige goods, and in other words, we can also say closely related to this, maybe it applies to prestige goods as well, but it has some other ideas as well. The third one is goods having demonstration effect. Goods having demonstration effect. Like if I am having a good quality mobile, I don't keep it in my pocket, I keep in my hand. If someone is wearing a good necklace, then the person looks for appreciation from the onlookers. If someone does not ask about, okay, your necklace looks so good, your mobile phone looks so good, your watch looks so good, from where have you bought, what is the price? So, some goods have demonstration effect. Some goods have demonstration effect. The one who is having that likes to talk about that commodity. He or she expects the person in front to make inquiries about that. That is what is meant by demonstration effect. And the fourth one is given goods. The fourth one is given goods. Giffen was the name of an economist. What are given goods? There are some inferior goods on which law of demand does not operate. They don't follow law of demand. Such inferior goods which do not follow law of demand, they are known as given goods. They are known as given goods. Please remember, I said some of the inferior goods. It is not that all inferior goods are given goods, but those inferior goods which do not follow law of demand, they are known as given goods. So, one statement is there which says that all given goods are inferior goods, but all inferior goods are not given goods. It is not that all inferior goods do not follow law of demand. Only those inferior goods which do not follow law of demand, they are classified as given goods. Now, to take an example, let us talk about candle. Nowadays, people use inverters, people use emergency light as their income goes. For them, candle is an inferior good. It has inverse relationship with the income of the consumer. Now, let us assume for a moment that there is some natural calamity or there is some technical fault due to which there is power outage, no availability of power electricity for next 2-3 days. In that case, our inverter, our emergency light will go out of order and we will have to buy candle. Now what happens when I go to the shopkeeper from whom I have been buying my goods, a regular visitor, and he was selling a candle for ₹5, the same shopkeeper will not feel good, but he or she will say that okay, fine, this candle was selling for ₹5, but right now we are selling it for ₹10, ₹15 or ₹20. So there is rise in the price of the inferior good, but its demand also rises. Another example is matchbox and candle. If there is flood in a particular area, these goods are sold at a premium. So, some inferior goods do not follow law of demand in certain circumstances. Those inferior goods are called given goods, and these given goods do not follow law of demand, right? Now, we will talk about price elasticity of demand. We will talk about price elasticity of demand. The law of demand says that the price of the commodity and its quantity demanded have inverse relationship. They move in opposite direction while other factors remain constant. it says it has inverse relationship, but it does not give the exact measure how much effect a particular change will have on the good. If the rise in price is high or low, how much effect it will have on the quantity demanded of a particular commodity, right? So, to take an analogy, if someone says that I am feeling feverish, I am having fever, it looks so, the immediate reaction of the person in front is to hold on to the wrist or put his or her hand on the head to feel whether the temperature is high or not. If it is not high, someone will say, okay, fine, you are having no temperature or mild temperature. But if the body is hot, then we take a thermometer, and by using thermometer, we arrive at the exact temperature of the body. Similarly, this price elasticity of demand gives us the exact measure of the effect of the change in price, which law of demand does not give us. So, this price elasticity of demand, is defined as, it is denoted as ED, and it is defined as percentage change in quantity demanded divided by percentage change in the price of the commodity. Let us assume that commodity is X. So, when we have the data or figure in percentage, we use this formula. When we have data or percentage, we use this formula, right? Now, this is in percentage term. What about number? We need to convert this percentage into number. So, let us assume that let original price be P and changed price be P1. In that case, change in price will be P1 minus P, and percentage change in price will be P1 minus P divided by P into 100. We find percentage by dividing whole by dividing part by whole into 100. Similarly, for quantity, let original quantity be Q and changed quantity be Q1. Therefore, change in quantity will be Q1 minus Q, and percentage change in quantity will be Q1 minus Q divided by Q into 100. So, this is percentage change in price, this is percentage change in quantity. Now, we will put these value here in this formula. What do we get? ED equal to Q1 minus Q divided by Q into 100 whole divided by P1 minus P into P into 100. Now, we will cancel this 100 and 100. What do we get? Therefore, ED equal to Q1 minus Q divided by Q. This P will go upwards. So, and this will come down, P1 minus P. Now, instead of this Q1 minus Q, we can write delta Q. and for P1 minus P we can write delta P. So therefore ED equal to delta Q by Q into P by delta P. Now we will rearrange this to show change at one place, delta Q by delta P into P by Q. This is the second formula. This is change in quantity, this is change in price, this is original price and this is original quantity. So we find numericals in this chapter. And in numericals, the data or figure that is given is either in percentage terms. If the data and figure is in percentage terms, we use this formula, and if the data or figure is in number, we use this formula, right? So by using these two formula, you can easily compute the price elasticity of demand. Right? Clear? And this, the value of this ED is always in negative. This is always in negative. This negative sign does not have any mathematical significance. This negative sign does not have any mathematical significance. It tells us that there is inverse relationship between price of the commodity and its quantity demanded, right? So when you work out the numericals, its value must come into negative, right? Or if your price elasticity of demand is given, you have to put negative sign before that. How does it operate? Let us assume that price is ₹5 and quantity is, let us say, 20. Now if the price increases to ₹8, then the quantity will decrease to 15. So the change in price will be in positive. Change in price will be P1 minus P. This will be 8 minus 5 equal to 3. And change in quantity will be Q1 minus Q, that will be 15 minus 20 equal to minus 5. So if there is increase in price, the price is in positive and quantity is in negative. And if there is fall in price, then price is in negative and quantity is in positive. So either delta Q or delta P, one figure will always be in negative. So ED value is always in negative. Correct? So this is how you will be solving your numericals in this chapter. And it is pretty easy. You first just go through the worked out solutions and then start doing unsolved numericals. Right? Now we will talk about the degrees of elasticity of price elasticity of demand. As we have seen, the law of demand just tells us that there is inverse relationship, but it does not tell us anything about how much effect it will have, whether the change in quantity demanded will be more or change in quantity demanded will be less. So here we will be talking about degrees of price elasticity of demand. And we need to remember what is the formula. The formula is ED equal to percentage change in quantity demanded divided by percentage change in price. We have seen just now. Now there are 5 degrees of price elasticity of demand. The first one is, let us draw x-axis and y-axis. On x-axis we are showing quantity, on y-axis we are showing price, and the demand curve is parallel to x-axis. The demand curve is parallel to x-axis. In this case, price remains constant. Price remains constant. At the same price, the quantity increases. At the same price, quantity increases. So, if there is no change in price, the percentage change in price will be 0. The price, original price was 5. Changed price is also 5. 5 minus 5 equal to 0. This value will be 0. So, anything by 0 equal to infinity. So, here ED will be infinity, and this is known as perfectly elastic demand. This is known as perfectly elastic demand. Right? In another case, we will draw x and y axis. On x axis we show quantity, here we are showing price. In this case, demand curve is parallel to y axis. Quantity remains constant, there is no change in quantity. The quantity, original quantity is also 20, changed quantity is also 20, and the price keeps increasing. The price keeps increasing. So, in this case, as there is no change in quantity, this value will be 0, 0 by anything equal to 0. In this case, ED will be equal to 0, and this is known as perfectly inelastic demand. This is known as perfectly inelastic demand. We have just seen that law of demand does not hold for necessities like salt, life-saving drugs, school fees, etc. We have just seen. Now, here we have another degree. Here we are showing quantity, here we are showing price. This is the demand curve. In this case, the change in price and change in quantity both are equal. If the price of the commodity decreases by 20%, the quantity demanded rises by 20%. If the price increases by 25%, the quantity demanded decreases by 25%. Both the percentages are same, therefore 25% by 25% will be equal to 1. Right? So, this is known as unitary elastic demand. Here ED will be equal to 1. Then in fourth case, we have a steep curve. This is the demand curve. Now, in this case, what is happening? Change in P is equal to change in Q. In this case, what is visible? Change in price is greater than change in quantity. In this case, change in price is greater than change in quantity. So, what will happen? The numerator will be less and denominator will be more because change in price is more. So in this case, ED will be equal to less than 1. ED will be equal to less than 1. Here the demand curve is steep. Here the demand curve is steep. And in the last case, this is known as less elastic demand, or we also call it less than unitary elastic demand, right? In another case, the last one, here we have quantity, here we have price, and the demand curve is flat. The demand curve is flat. Here, what we can observe? We can observe that change in price is less than change in quantity. Change in price is this, change in price is less than change in quantity. So, in this case, numerator will be more, denominator will be less. This is, in this case, ED will be equal to more than 1. ED will be equal to more than 1, and this is known as more elastic or more than unitary elastic demand. Here, in case of perfectly inelastic demand, we have salt, life-saving drugs. In this case, where it is less elastic, the effect on, if the change in price is more but change in quantity is less, potato and onion, these are staple food which we use in every item. Even if the onion is sold for 100 rupees kg, it is not that the demand comes down drastically. There is little effect or change in that. Same with potato, because these are staple diets. So, if the price changes, the change in demand, quantity demanded is less. That's why it is less elastic. Here we have green vegetables. If the price of the green vegetable rises, people look for substitutes. People look for substitutes instead of green vegetables. They go for gram, they go for soya bean. They might think that instead of spending so much money on green vegetables, let us go for non-veg, eggs, whatever. So, if the price of the green vegetable rises, the effect on the green vegetable is more. If the price of onion, potato rises, its effect is less on the quantity demanded. Necessities we have seen, and here we can put leisure and entertainment. Leisure and entertainment, like Pizza Hut, Domino's, buy one get one, 50% offer, 50% discount. The quantity demanded also goes by 50%. Water park, fun and entertainment, buy one get one ticket. There is great crowd over there. So, this is how this price elasticity of demand tells us the exact measure of the change in quantity demanded due to change in the price of the product, right? As we have seen, it depends on the nature of the commodity. If the commodity is necessities, there will be no effect. If it is habit, like cigarettes, wines, etc., it has no effect. If there is substitute, there will be more effect. If there is no substitute, there will be less effect. If the income of the consumer is high income group, the effect will be there will be no effect, or it will be negligible. For middle income group, the effect will be there, not much. For lower income group, the effect will be more. If the price level is high, it will be more elastic. Like, let us take air conditioner. If there is discount on it, there is great rush for air conditioners. It is high-end product, the price is high. For lower priced goods, the effect will be less. If we can postpone the purchase, the buying, the effect will be more. And if we can't postpone the buying or purchase, the effect will be less. Like in winter, if the temperature has dipped, it is very cold, even if the woolen garments are sold at a higher price, we will have to buy it. If the temperature is not that much low, then they have to offer discount. During summer, if it is a scorching heat, temperature is very high, they don't offer any discount or on air conditioners or coolers. But if the temperature is moderate, not very high, then they give discount. If the temperature is high, they give no discount. So, you can just make a guess by asking a question: what will happen to the quantity demanded when the price of the commodity changes, by just applying your mind as a consumer instead of as a student. I hope that as soon as you raise the question in your mind, the answer will come and you will be able to say whether the effect will be more or if it is less. If it is more, it is more elastic. If it is less, it is less elastic. Right? So, today in this session, we have seen the classification of goods as normal goods and inferior goods on the basis of the income of the consumer. What effect does the income have on the demand of a particular commodity? Normal goods have positive relationships, inferior goods have negative relationships. Then we talked about exceptions to law of demand. We saw many examples, and then we talked about price elasticity of demand, which gives us exact measure of the change in quantity demanded due to change in price. It is either unitary or perfectly elastic or perfectly inelastic or less elastic or more elastic. And we also saw how to solve the numericals. So, this was all about the law of demand. If you include the previous video, there are two videos, two sessions we have done with law of demand, and all the portions have been covered. In our next video, we will be talking about producer's equilibrium. We will be talking about producer's equilibrium, where we will try to figure out which quantity and which price brings maximum profit to the producers, as producers are there in the market for maximum profit, like consumers are there in the market for maximum satisfaction. Right? I hope you are able to grasp what was on offer right now, and if you have any question, any doubt, any clarification, any query, you are most welcome to write in the comment section. I will be more than happy, more than glad to answer your questions, right? Thank you.